This has been an extraordinary day. I want to give a big shout out to the organizers because I think this is such an important topic, and the way that was framed and the different conversations that we had access to, I think, are really incredible. And I'm really glad I was able to spend time learning. That it didn't just come in for this part, but I was actually able to spend the day with everybody and learning from all of the work that you're doing. So, a round of applause to the organizers and all of the people who've spoken. Okay. So I want to just, before we dive in, I was thinking, all the conversations that we've had today, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, it's important for us to have this conversation about, um, you know, how it's important. This conversation is important because many people's lives are affected by all this. But I also want to talk about the market opportunity. And the reason why I say that is because I think that, if we look at any of the initiatives that we're involved in and really focus on, the fact that we need to do this because it's the right thing to do and because people need it, that's great. But I think that I also want us to understand the market opportunity, because that's actually what gets the funding that folks are looking for. And so something I saw was that, um, when we look at this globally, more than 1.3 billion people live with some form of disability, right? So this makes this a really huge, one of the largest and diverse communities in the world. And the market for AI-powered accessibility is expected to surpass $50 billion in the next decade. And so this is a great growth opportunity for not just responsibility, but for policy, innovation, and inclusion. And the reason why I talk about that is because I think that people don't understand the opportunity as well. And I think that we need to get funding towards this. But let me go ahead and introduce myself. And this is Accessible Futures, Shaping Policy for Disability, Technology, and AI. I'm Liz Ngonzi. I'm the founder and CEO of the International Social Impact Institute. I'm also the founding chair for Ethics and Responsible AI Committee of the American Society for AI. And of course, a proud Cornell alumna from the class of, I won't say the class because then you'll know how old I am. It's an honor to moderate this discussion at Cornell Tech's Disability and Access in Tech and AI Summit, especially during National Disability Employment Awareness Month and Blindness Equality Achievement Month, when we celebrate the contributions, talents, and leadership of people with disabilities in our workplaces and communities. October also brings several important observances. World Sight Day, which was just yesterday, White Cane Day, which is next week, and the International Stuttering Awareness Day, each reminding us that accessibility is not optional. It's a fundamental right and a powerful source of innovation that benefits everyone. Before we begin, I'd like to share that we're using a conversational AI tool called Ask Humans to make this session participatory. It allows anyone to share short voice or text reflections on how AI and policy can advance accessibility. We've already received some thoughtful responses, and several themes have emerged from this pre-panel study, Listening to Build Accessible Futures. First, accessibility and inclusion must be built in from the start, not added later. There's a strong call for better training, empathy, and awareness. And compliance alone isn't enough. True inclusion comes from design shaped by lived experience. Finally, accessibility isn't a cost, it's innovation done right. With those ideas in mind, I'd like to turn to our panelists who are each advancing this work in powerful ways. I'm thrilled to be joined by three remarkable leaders working at the intersection of accessibility, technology, and policy. First, we have Arthur Jacobs to my immediate left, who is Digital Accessibility Coordinator at the New York City Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities, ensuring that the city services, websites, and technologies are accessible to all New Yorkers. Next to Arthur is Benjamin Solotaire, who's Senior Advisor at the New York City Civic Engagement Commission, leading participatory democracy efforts that bring community voices into public decision-making. And on our screen, we saw from earlier, joining virtually is Shaomei Wu, who is the CEO of I'm Power and proud Cornell alum, whose work ensures AI systems understand and respect diverse speech patterns, including those of people who stutter. Can you each sort of introduce yourselves in terms of the work that you do, but also why you do it? I think I always love to hear about why people choose to do the work that they do. Oh, you don't, oh, they didn't give you the mics? Here you go. I think I need to turn it on. Well, Shaomei is, okay, you got it? Can we have a mic? Oh, here, there's another mic here. Shaomei, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself again for folks?
I think it's on now.
Oh,
Yep.
we're on? Okay, good. All right.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to start with why I do what I do. Access to technology is a really important, well, access to information is a really important barrier that I try to tackle every day. It's one of the biggest barriers that people with disabilities face, and I think when they have access to information, that really does a lot to allow them to participate fully in society and reach their full potential. So my work with the various city agencies allows me and the city to become more accessible. We, with COVID, that really pushed the digital realm because it was kind of the only way people had to access, because the typical way that city government worked with turning in applications and paper and all that wasn't available anymore. So that has really helped to push the digital realm and the importance of digital accessibility. So I work with the agencies and their folks in comms and IT and various places to make sure that all of their digital assets are accessible.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Benjamin, you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you. Good, that's on. Benjamin Solotaire with the Civic Engagement Commission. We are a part of the city government. We're under the mayor's office. With the charter mandated, we were voted into existence in 2018 by the residents of New York City, with the mandate to run a few specific programs, but also to restore trust in government and increase participation in our democratic institutions. We are about 25 people. We do run a citywide participatory budgeting process. We do voter language interpretation and training for community boards. But our foundation of our work is that it's the residents of New York that should shape the work that we do and the policies that New York has. I've worked with Arthur a lot over the last couple of years. When I got into this, I've been in civic engagement for a long time, but when I got here to the Civic Engagement Commission 3 years ago, I talked to Arthur about doing some workshops for people with disabilities for our community boards. And I don't know if I've told you this, but he brought up the fact that it's not the people that for being a little crude, it's not the people that are sort of built wrong, it's this environment we live in. And that it's the building is accessible if it has a ramp. It's the lack of a ramp that makes it inaccessible, not the use of a wheelchair. And that really sort of opened my eyes to this need for this work and to really hear from people as to how we should shape policies and programs. So that has been a core of our work, and I can talk more about that a little later.
Awesome. Thank you. Shaomei?
Yeah. Hi. Can you guys hear
Are
me?
you unmuted? I
Yes.
think you're muted.
I
You
unmuted.
can unmute yourself, please.
I'm not mute. Like, I think I need access.
We can't hear anything.
Uh,
Oh, it's coming. Okay, so I think, okay, you're unmuted now. I think we can,
Okay.
let's try again.
okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Nope.
No.
Can you
But
turn up the volume
caption.
perhaps?
Okay. The online people can hear me, and the
Okay.
captioner can hear me.
Can someone read? She needs to access an app. Okay. All right. The irony of. Okay, well, this is it, right? This proves the need for us to be addressing all of this. And we did hear from Shaomei a little bit earlier, but I know that not everybody was here earlier.
Yeah. Let me know when.
You're trying. Okay, no problem. Okay, so what Shaomei, we're going to come back to you because
Okay.
actually Arthur's going to have to leave exactly at 3, so I want to just sort of
Okay.
be mindful. So why don't I just go ahead and ask the specific questions to each panelist, and I'll come back to you, Shaomei, once we've addressed the audio. So Arthur, the question for you is, one of the strongest themes from our audience responses was that compliance doesn't always mean inclusion. And from your experience in city government, how can AI and digital accessibility policy move beyond minimum legal requirements to deliver real lived inclusion?
I love this question. It's the policy, I think, is where it starts, and that policy has to come from the top. So it's really kind of a shift in the culture within city government where accessibility and digital accessibility specifically is just top of mind. It's just automatic. It's what's expected. It's what's thought of. And the understanding that that doesn't mean, oh, well, it meets, this standard and that standard and it's good, but that it's actually usable. That's the standard, is that it's actually usable. Compliance is just a floor. We need to be reaching for the ceiling. AI can certainly play a part in this because most of the people who are creating the digital assets don't really know much about accessibility. It's not something they've been taught or have experience with. And when you try to teach it to them, it becomes overwhelming. And so they start shutting down, and it just kind of makes the whole cycle worse, right? So using AI to help kind of coach them through it, to support them in that effort is a great way to use it as a tool. I love Microsoft's AI. I love that they named it Copilot, right? Because it really is your Copilot. It's not doing it for you. It's your assistant, and it's helping you to kind of do what you need to do. And as an example, a developer needs to create a button, let's say, and they want that button to be accessible. They know it has to be accessible, but they don't really know what that means exactly. So you can put into AI, okay, how can I create an accessible button, right? And give it all the parameters that it needs to have. And it can show them the code, and they know the code, so they can see that and start to learn, oh, this is what that means. Okay, I need to be doing this. And it just kind of helps them to not only to develop it, but also to learn along the way.
Okay, so I love that you said that it enables you to do what you need to do or what you want to do. But I would also say that it's also that it enables you to live the life you want to live.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's, to me, I think that's also an important thing, just listening to the conversations we've had earlier. Is Shaomei back with us? Okay, so then I'm going to then go to, okay. You want to try?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go ahead. I'll have you introduce yourself, but I'm also going to ask you your question, right? So your work at AI Empower ensures AI tools recognize and include diverse speech. How has your personal experience and your professional journey shaped your vision for accessible AI? And it really does tie into your why and a little bit about the work that we heard about earlier.
Yeah. Thank you. So happy to be here. I'm sad that I cannot be there with you in the same room, because now I'm missing out all those amazing energy that you guys all share on the topic that I'm very passionate about. So again, my name is Shaomei Wu, and I'm the founder and CEO of Empower. And so why I do what I do, I think like through my like I shared a little bit earlier, but I like as a person who's a doctor, my and also with a lot of other kind of intersection marginalized identity, for example, as woman in tech, and as immigrant. Like I myself deal with a lot of the kind of Jason daily. So the identity as a person who stuttered for a long time is very scary to me. For a very long time because of all this like pressure and what I have seen or what I've been told that I have to speak normally. And then I cannot do that because stuttering it's basically neuron divergent. So now my brain is wired in a way that sometimes my speech and my thought will be out of sync. So I, for a long time, was trying to hide that part of myself. And that was really painful because I paid a huge price of changing my words and also very often self-censoring. And I'm not happy every time I'm start to talking with someone. I'm very, very, very defensive. A lot of my energy is wasted at just trying to hide my stutter, and I'm not able to really connect with the world the way that I want to. And for the longest time, I cannot order cappuccino because the K sound is hard for me. So I always just get tea or or latte. So I'm not getting the drink that I want. So that is horrible. How can I? So my journey was really largely shaped my work with the disability community as well as my connection with other people who stutter. They really help me to not only normalize my disability, but also seeing the power of what we have by just kind of world that is not designed for us by all those extra thoughts and the strategies that we have employed every day to have a satisfying life in our current society. And all those creativity and support and capacity and the passion really inspire me. And so I want to build Empower to further amplify that. So Empower's mission is to ensure the emerging technologies such as AI, um, how they shape their future, their direction is shaped by those who are mostly in it, but has been left out in the design and the development of those technologies. So we want to put people who are most impacted back on the driver's seat. So in our work with people who stutter, we are really trying to build speech AIs that do not censor or hide place stutter speech, but really honor it. For example, we do not, we are not building something that will smooth out my speech so that I sound fluent right now. But we want to build things. For example, this tool that you guys are using right now, like captioning what I'm saying. I want my stuttering to show up there. I don't know whether it is, but most of the models that we try do not. They will tend to smooth out my sentence or more openly just make up random things of what like to instead of transcribing my speech and my stuttering as it is. And that is not empowering because that again devalued the pattern of my speech and then make me feel less. And so that's what I do, and then that's why I do it. And I'm not sure whether I I think that also answer my question. That answer the question that you that was shared about how my personal experience and my professional journey shaped the vision for Empower.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
And so can anyone tell me, because I can't see, did it actually include the words that Shaomei stuttered? 50, okay, so it's 50-50. Okay, 50-50.
Okay, that's that's more than I thought, because for example with OpenAI's Whisper, the new model actually very aggressively smooths out my sentence, almost is not able to transcribe stuttering words. Versus the old model that they launched, I think in 18 was more able to. So that, you know, like the trend is their model trying to be more smart in a way that it's just more kind of normalizing.
Sure. So let me ask you the question then. So OpenAI Whisper started off by including that, and then it sort of erased it. So how would you work with a company like OpenAI to address this?
First of all, I do not think they start with trying to include stutter speech. I
Okay.
think, you know, I think that was kind of like, I think for them, maybe there was a bug. There was a kind of worse, you know, a kind of weaker model of a kind of weaker model that was not able to produce normal, you know, text.
Right.
So I think they worked on it. I think they improve it by in a way that new model is able to have more smooth sentences. And how do I work with them? I repeatedly reaching out to them. But I haven't really been able to directly work with them yet. But but what we did now is, since they open source their older version, and then they also have the interface for you to tune it. So we have been fine-tuning their model using the stutter speech that we collected from over 100 people who stutter, just to teach those models those are what stutter sound like. And then we also provide verbatim transcript as the target, saying like, we want you to transcribe my speech that way. And that it's actually pretty effective. We were able to reduce errors by more than half.
Okay. And then, but so to build upon that, then how do you get, so that's that's addressing one side of it, but then how do you then, from an advocacy perspective, help people who don't stutter to understand the importance of this, and how do, you know, like how, because I'm just trying to figure out how do we get everybody on board, right? Because if Whisper edited this out as an error, right, then the assumption is everyone else is seeing it as an error. But what you're saying is it's not, and it's not. So how do we make sure that someone like me who's reading through a transcript from, or listening to Whisper is able to, or getting the transcript from Whisper, is able to understand the importance of this, right? Of making sure this erasure does not happen, right? Because I think that's also important.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I think if you do not know that I stutter, or like if you do not hear my audio, you are simply reading the output from Whisper, you will not know.
Right.
And then I do not want, you know, I want to have this option of like having it transcribe my speech so that the audience know I do stutter. Sometimes I don't want that. Sometimes I do want that. So how do we approach that? One thing is, you know, I'm like when I go to a lot of events, just kind of like this, and to kind of talk about it, you know, to kind of tell the public, and then also tell those people who built the, you know, those the speech technologies, that what is most empowering for us, because we saw that there's a lot of assumptions are made by people who stutter. So I mean, like sometimes people who stutter do not want our stutter to be shown.
Right.
But I think ultimately the choice should be made by me rather than by, you know, like people who build like those models who you know, who do not know me at all. And so and then to the audience, you know, to the lay people who may not know about how to accommodate a person who stutter, I think basically just ask. You know, like you can ask me whether what kind of, you know, captions that I want,
Sure.
or you know, or like how, you know, like how you can support me in these conversations. A, a lot of time it's just all come down to be respect, like to be respectful and to be more patient and do not rush me and
Right.
don't guess, you know, don't help me complete my sentence because, you know, I want to take the ownership of what I say, and the same way that I want to take ownership of the technology that I use.
No, that's fair. I mean, agency, I get it. I really get it. I'm curious the last time you had a cappuccino.
Actually, right now I always order it.
Yeah,
But
that's great.
actually, just couple of weeks ago, I was ordering and then I stuttered so bad, and the waiter actually laughed, and then I was like, oh, why? That's not funny. And then so I think he was kind of embarrassed afterwards. But yeah, anyway, now I just always stuttering bad cappuccino.
Okay. 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 I got it. Thank you for sharing that very personal story with us. I want to get to Benjamin right now. And this is the call that you and I had. Another theme that came out of the conversation we had was nothing about us without us, right? That people with disabilities must help shape AI policy, which really speaks to what Shaomei was kind of calling for. So how might participatory governance models like the civic assemblies and budgeting process that you've led inform more inclusive tech policy making?
I think, first of all, that phrase is a disability justice phrase that came up long ago, long before me, and it's something that I think that we practice at the Civic Engagement Commission, or the CEC, in what they were talking about earlier, in the in sort of person-centered, human-centered design of our processes. Now, we have government processes, we have regulations, rules, procedures, as Arthur knows, that we have to follow, but we center. So our task is to go out there. We have a part of the city budget, which is participatory budgeting, which takes a part of the city budget and puts it in. We get ideas from residents around the city about how to spend that money on programs and services. Then the residents decide. We get, you know, a couple thousand ideas. We'll be beginning next week, October 15th. You'll be able to give us ideas for about 6 weeks, and then we have residents take those ideas and decide where it gets put on a ballot for residents to vote on in the spring. So it's completely resident driven, and we designed that process. But we have to go into the community and ask them, like, how did we do? What can we do better? How can this reflect the needs of your constituents? It's a huge city, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, and with many different constituencies, people with disabilities being one. And if we, you know, we need them to tell us what's going on and to give us the ideas uh, for services that the city needs that benefit them. Like, and we don't alter those ideas. We, if somebody comes in and says, we just need uh, ASL classes, or we need um, education about access, about digital access, or how to do better meetings for people with disabilities. We take those ideas and we put them on a ballot as given. They're short. The descriptions are short if anybody's here has ever voted or seen this, but and then the people vote on those ideas. So we're only enacting what people tell us they need and want,
And
and then the residents of New York then uh, vote on those, and we actualize those. Our funding's not great, but we do about 20 projects a year on a variety of topics. So It's really just listening to them, going out there and saying, how can we make this better so it serves your community?
Okay. So I want to ask you a question. It's a little bit, it's coming out from listening to you. So how can AI help you with this, right? For first of all, more effectively capturing the voice of the citizens, and then to be able to help you identify needs that go beyond, you have a 25-person staff, right? So it's not like,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
it's not like your huge staff,
Yeah.
but how could AI help you to be able to actually even identify more opportunities from all the data you've obtained from all the people you've heard from over the years?
That's a great idea. I am not a technologist.
Right, that's what I was
But I
thinking.
would say what immediately comes to mind is we're entering year 4 of doing this. We have collected 12,000 ideas from around the city about what people want. We can only, we only actualize end up, 20 or so a year. But how do we make that data make sense to us? How do we make all those ideas? We want everybody's voice to be heard.
Sure.
So, I think an AI tool interpreting those ideas, coming up with policy recommendations.
Yep.
I think the assistive technologies that we were talking about before, if we could utilize those in the field for people that to be enable them to be part of the process.
Right.
We have AI guidelines in the city, which I think Arthur can speak to better than me. But so there's limitations to what we can use. But yeah, there could definitely be.
Before I get to Arthur, so there's a young man named Tom who I met earlier this morning. What would you do, Tom? Tell them about the project you worked on. Tom's looking for a job, so I'm trying to help Tom.
Hi, Tom.
So I was working with the NYU Ability project.
Does he need a mic?
And then I'm going to come back to you, Arthur, because Arthur's, I know, I'm going to come back to you. Go ahead.
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay. So I wasn't specifically working with AI, but I was working with the NYU Ability Project and a nonprofit working with individuals with disabilities on fabricating assistive technology to help individuals create art. But outside of that, I think your idea is great about using AI to sort of like synthesize all of these different people's ideas.
Like that.
And yeah, because AI is really good at just like analyzing and like gathering large amounts of data.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be a great idea to sort of make people's voices heard.
And I'm going to demo that shortly, actually, the way you could, I'm not selling anything, I'm just showing you something, but go ahead, Arthur.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things, as you point out, Tom, that AI does very well, that kind of summarizing and synthesizing ideas into various buckets and allowing us to really see those patterns more readily. And in what we've heard from Shaomei and from others today, even using AI to also help get those additional voices so that people with disabilities are equally represented as people without are represented. So I think that's also another area that AI can be useful.
Absolutely. Shaomei, do you want to chime in on that?
Like, sorry, like how can AI support the vision of accessibility?
Right, because I really think that Benjamin's team is sitting on a gold mine, right? As a New York City, I live in New York, so like I'm self-interested, right? And I'm like, okay, how can we just in this particular forum figure out how to help him address that?
Yeah,
find the opportunity.
Yeah, I for sure think that public policy will be a super important tool for the change to happen, because as I say, we have trying to work with the company that built those models, but I think even though there are a lot of people who started all with other forms of disabilities who right now are not fully served by those models. The company
Right.
just still do not have the incentive to really engage and to invest to make the change. So then to us, I feel policy could be an important pathway to kind of facilitate that change to happen. You know, for example, like before, you know, the some company deploy their customer support phone line, you know, replacing human with some kind of AI system. Maybe we can require them to audit those, you know, those AI to make sure that they have a comparable performance to, you know, callers with with a wide.
And I'm with you. And here's the reason, and that's the reason why I mentioned that globally more than 1.3 billion people live with some form of disability, and that it represents a $50 billion market, because it makes for the companies that are not necessarily addressing that right now, it is actually a market opportunity for them, right? Like that's what I'm thinking too.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
no, of course. I just want to also reemphasize what Arthur said and what Shaomei is saying is that if we don't get the ideas from people
Yeah.
with disabilities, if we don't use that technology to hear them and to give them input, it doesn't matter if we have 4,000 ideas, right?
Right.
If we have 4,000 ideas that half a third of the population didn't contribute to, we're not really reflecting them. So, and it's the staff, it's our stuff. You know, we don't have anybody on staff that has a disability that I know of, but we have to embrace that, and we have to make that a forefront in our heads that there are ways to do this that we should utilize, and
Yeah.
it makes training and it takes effort, but I know we're on we're trying to get there, but we're not we're not there yet, but we're working on it.
Right. I mean, because it represents the constituents, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so that makes sense. Go ahead, Arthur. You're going to say something.
Not really, no.
Okay. So then I'm going to ask you this question, then we'll go into the Ask Humans.
Okay.
And I'll start with you, Arthur. So what's one bold step we can take to make accessibility a design principle, a policy priority, and a cultural norm within the next 5 years? Knowing that it's a huge opportunity too, right, for these companies to think about. And I frame it that way because that's how you need to frame it when you talk about it too.
A bold step. I think, and it's really kind of simple, actually. It just needs to be upfront. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be something that is not, and one of the things in the Ask Humans that came out from the previous stuff is that accessibility needs to be built in from the beginning rather than strapped on at the end, right? And that I think is really what it comes down to. It's when you put it front of mind, when it comes from everybody, including leadership, from a policy perspective, it is something then that people just kind of automatically start doing, right? This is how policies have evolved from the very beginning. There's a new thing that comes out, or why do we have to do? But you know, as you start doing it, it just becomes the norm, and that's what we want to reach. Is accessibility just needs to be the norm. Another word for accessibility is universal design.
Yes.
And when you start talking about universal design, that doesn't just impact or benefit people with disabilities. That benefits everybody. How many mothers in the room love elevators because they can take their stroller and go right in and it makes it really easy, right? That's universal design. It's, you know, these are just kind of those basic things that really create equality.
Yeah, I agree. Who wants to chime in next?
I could, if
Okay.
that's okay. I think Arthur is totally right, but I think to build on that is we have to stop accepting the phrase, we'll do it next time, or
Right.
that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, if we come up with a design for outreach to a community and the documents aren't, you know, either if it's electronic, they're not screen readable, or if we're not bringing assistive technology so that people can hear it, then we shouldn't do it.
Yep.
You know, you're like, oh, I didn't get to that accessibility issue this time, so, but you know what, next time we'll do it. We have to not allow that. And that puts a lot of stress and strain on government services and any services, business or otherwise. But once we learn it and we implement it, we've taught classes on accessibility, but if you don't practice it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree. You, Arthur, go ahead.
I just, so Benjamin is absolutely right. I don't know why I didn't say that.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's why it's a panel.
it's a bold thing to say no. No, we can't launch that website because it's not accessible, you
Yeah.
know. I can tell that is probably one of the most infuriating meetings or conversations I have is I point out something that's wrong. Oh, well, you know, we're still going to launch it tomorrow, but we'll get to that. Yeah. Yeah.
On the back
So
end, it'll be
on the back
added
end,
to.
yeah. So yeah, saying no when it's not accessible and making that be okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. Shaomei?
Yeah. Yeah, like I have been to so many meetings with the kind of similar recurring thing of, oh, it's not fully accessible, but we can fix it later. But then the truth is, usually it will not. Like usually this
Right.
is just a kind of very much downgraded. Yeah. Anyway, so but to answer the question, I think my biggest hope is to have accessibility be a shared responsibility among all, rather than kind of like placing all the burdens on the person with disabilities themselves. Because I can see a lot of current design or like tools that are built for people with disabilities are kind of built in a way that trying to fix us or kind of make us kind of superhuman, enhance our speech, our vision, mobility. But I feel even though it may help us, kind of complete some tasks right now, but again, it's like putting all those work on us who are already dealing with a lot of things. And and then also that change the kind of in some way hide our true need and kind of are not in challenging the kind of social expectation of why do I have to speak the same way, or why I cannot kind of get happily comfortably living in the world without my eyesight, or like so my hope is like if we can more kind of trying to build this world, make the environment just workable for for all kind of abilities and the needs, then I think that's the kind of the kind of the empowering and equitable futures that I would like to see for people with disabilities and for everyone else.
No, that's fair. No, I appreciate that. So we want to hear from you humans, okay? If you use the QR code or go ahead and type in the tiny URL, I'm going to show you this tool called Ask Humans that literally either you can record a voice note, or which is basically frictionless sort of data collection, or else you can type in your response. You don't have to provide your email address. It won't be sold, but it just will give us an opportunity to kind of model this in real time. But something I realized when I designed this that was a design flaw is I could have actually asked the question as a video, but I typed the question out. So next time I'm going to think about doing it that way. So I've learned something from this as well. But so you can go ahead and spend a couple of seconds. It's going to be about 2 minutes that you can respond to the request. And then I'm going to show you that literally we'll be able to get your answers in real time, which when we analyze them in real time. So I'm going to go ahead and click and open Ask Humans. I'm going to open the study, and I can see the themes coming in right away. I can see the findings, right? So that come in. I can get some action plans. I can even do a SWOT analysis. I can do a report immediately with the SWOT analysis to give me a sense for where everything lands, and I can even generate my own report. But literally, you can do this in real time with AI. I can go to the transcripts themselves. I won't, because I want to preserve people's data, or I want to protect people's data. but I can look at the transcripts to get to sort of really delve in and see, okay, what did this person say? And it's multilingual as well. So I think it's a really great way to hear from people about what's going on with them, particular topics. So if you can respond, that'd be wonderful as we're sort of. Now, did you respond?
I did.
Yeah, you did. What was your experience with it?
Oh, it was easy. It was totally easy.
Right. Yeah, it's frictionless. I mean, I met the founder of this company, Ask Humans, at an AI conference about 2 years ago, and he explained to me that he's been in the private sector, but he also has worked he worked as a volunteer for an organization in East Africa, and he felt that a lot of times when people were evaluating projects, they were hearing from the consultants evaluating the projects, but you didn't actually get to hear from the people themselves. And so he felt that this was a way to get people's voices heard, right? And I think that this is just a really great tool to model that. So I want to hear from all of you, but because obviously we have time constraints, you have 6 minutes, I know. I'm going to go ahead and summarize all of the insights, and I will share them with you. You can connect with me on LinkedIn because I share a lot of stuff, or you can come to me and give me your email address, and I'll be happy to share the study with you. But basically, what we're seeing is, okay, so it's telling me, okay, so action plans, increase accessibility, tool awareness, advance beyond compliance, involve people with disability early, prioritize inclusive design training. I could also do a SWOT analysis if I wanted to create a report. Oops. So let's see what some of you are saying. But I want to make sure that with us having Arthur leaving us now in 4 minutes or 5 minutes, if anyone has a question for Arthur, let's go ahead and ask that question. Please go ahead. And can we get a microphone over there? You have the mic? Tom, you had the mic before. Is it still with you? Okay. So we're seeing the SWOT analysis. It's saying the strengths are the awareness of the importance of accessibility and compliance among organizations and individuals. A weakness is accessibility is often treated as an afterthought or compliance checkbox. We talked about that. Persistent design flaws such as small buttons, poor contrast, or lack of marking and audio signals in public spaces. Cost barriers associated with accessible technology, right? So we were able to capture your voices in a fairly quick, short period of time. Let's go ahead and hear from you. What's your name, please?
My name is Maruf.
Maruf, okay.
I know that you've been mentioning like a common theme of leading accessibility with design and not like as an afterthought. And this kind of reminded me of like a pretty pressing issue, and it does involve like the market, like specifically websites. Like 80% of websites are pretty much like unaccessible for users, specifically users who use like screen readers, because of like the way that the websites are structured. They're just like structured incorrectly and not accessibly. And so with this being such like a rampant issue and being such like it's just kind of there. Would you say like this also kind of brings in like the, I guess, like market opportunity for AI in this field? Would you say that this kind of like warrants a revamp of like screen readers, like screen reader technology, maybe introducing AI to kind of optimize it? Or would you say that this kind of makes it even more of an outlier than it already is, and we should instead like lead with policy instead of new technology, kind of just like forcing like all the existing like companies to kind of make their websites more accessible?
That's a great question. So talking specifically about screen readers, they are actually starting to incorporate AI elements into the screen reader. One of the popular screen readers called JAWS actually has something they call it, I think it's called the JAWS Companion, which is an AI element that can help you like when you go to a web page, it will summarize the contents of the page, tell you, there are, these topics, that sort of, that sort of thing to help you to understand the information. They're using it to generate image descriptions, which aren't great right now, but yeah. So I think there is definitely a role for AI and technology generally to fill some of those gaps. The problem is when you do that, or when you start to rely on it to do that, then when you think about the policy, then it's going to be, oh, well, they'll just take care of it. We don't need to worry about, building something that's accessible. They'll just use AI and technology and take care of all that way, and so then it doesn't become top of mind for society. So I think it's a combination. It can definitely be a tool, and I think it's great as a teaching tool to help people understand how to do it, and then it becomes incorporated into their general workflows. But true accessibility really is from the ground up, right? If you're designing a building and you can just design it so that there are no steps to get into the building, you made it accessible, right? Or there's a gentle slope and there are no steps. Like, it's just thinking about those kinds of things when you're creating stuff, keeping in mind all the various abilities of people. There's a great example of universal design in Battery Park, actually. The playground down there is a universally designed playground for kids of all abilities. So you'll see, nice gentle slopes to get up to all the various levels. There are, accessible slides and all this stuff, and it's really cool. They really thought it through and kept every kid's ability in mind. So yeah, I know there tends to be this jump towards using technology to solve problems, and while it can do that, you just have to be careful that it doesn't take over the change in mindset that is also necessary.
Right, the mindset's very important, right? I
Yeah.
think that's probably why so many AI initiatives actually fail, or actually tech initiatives fail, because that part of it hasn't been addressed, and it's very important that we do address it, right? The human side of it, absolutely. Arthur, it's 3 o'clock.
Okay.
So I'm going to thank you for joining us and for your contributions and the work that you do. And how can people get in touch with you?
The best way is email.
Okay.
So my email is ajacobs2@mopd.nyc.gov.
That's a short email. Okay, well, hopefully we'll be able to circulate some information from the organizers, but thank you for joining us.
All right, thanks everybody.
And I think Benjamin, does anyone you have another question for Benjamin or for Shaomei? Okay, or anyone wants to speak about their own work, right? What are some reflections you have from this conversation we've just had today? Oh, yep, okay. All right, well, so thank you to Arthur, Benjamin, and Shaomei for sharing your insights, experiences, and leadership. Thank you to all of you for lending your voices and energy to this conversation, even through ones and zeros. I want to congratulate Dr. Amari Keels and Professor Thijs Rauman and the entire organizing committee on a successful summit so far. And as we close, let's remember that this panel takes place during National Disability Employment Awareness Month and Blindness Equality Achievement Month, both dedicated to recognizing the leadership and contributions of people with disabilities and advancing equity across all sectors. This month also brings, as I mentioned earlier, World Sight Day, White Cane Day, and the International Stuttering Awareness Day, each reminding us that accessibility is not just a design principle or compliance standard. It's a human right and a driver of creativity, innovation, and belonging. Thank you so very much. I enjoy the rest of your afternoon and
Thank you.
Summit. Shaomei, I know your kids are raring to have you back. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you all. Very happy to see you all here.
Yeah, and thank you, Liz, for hosting the panel and the panelists for being here.
Yes. Thank you, Liz, for the wonderful prep.
Yeah, oh, my pleasure. Okay.